Hi guys, I hope you're all doing really well. I'm here today to do a haul slash wrap up slash all of that kind of stuff because it's been a while since I last vlogged. So let's get started. I'm going to show you the books that I've got from publishers recently, and then show you some books I've bought recently and tell you what I've read recently, and that will be it. So let's start with the books I've got from publishers. The first book that I've been sent is called Broken Monsters by Lauren. Now I find it really hard to pronounce her surname. Is it Books or Bukes? I think it's Bukes perhaps. And this is the fourth novel, I believe, by her. She wrote The Shining Girls, if you've read that one. I actually haven't read that yet. I bought it a while ago, but I haven't actually got around to reading it, which is really frustrating because I really wanted to read it. But this is, I think, the tagline for this one is Even Killers Have Dreams. So I think it's a bit of a kind of interesting look at killing and murderers and the way that they behave. And I think, let me quickly have a look at the, here we go, this is the blurb. He's lying on his side, his legs pulled up, eyes closed, face serene. The recovery position, only he's never going to recover, and those aren't his legs. Broken monsters come face to face with your deepest fears. So that is that one, and I think this actually might already be out. It says August 2014 is its publishing date, so it must already be out in hardback. But yeah, this is the proof that I was sent, so that is that one. Cannot wait to read that one. The next one I got sent is called The Fire Sermon, which you can probably see if I turn it that way, by Francesca Haig. And the blurb for this one says, "You were born together, you will die together. One strong alpha and one mutated omega. The only thing they share is the moment of their death. The omegas live in segregation, cast out by their families once their mutation becomes clear. Forced to live apart, they are completely subservient to their alpha counterparts. The alphas are the elite. Once their weaker twin has been cast aside, they're free to live in privilege and safety. Their omega twin far from their thoughts as they grow strong and powerful. Cass and Zack are both perfect on the outside. No missing limbs, no visible omega mutation, but Cass has a secret that will change both their lives. The power to change the world lies in both their hands, but one will have to defeat the other to see their vision of the future come to pass. And if one twin dies, so does the other." So that sounds absolutely epic. So that's The Fire Sermon by Francesca Haig. And let me just check when this one comes out. I don't know. Does it tell me? Will it tell me? Oh wow, not until February next year, so that's quite a way away. So I probably will read that one a little bit later on. But yeah, that looks fantastic. So thank you to Harper for sending me both of those books. The next one that I got sent is from the lovely people at Quirkers, and it is called Summer Lies Bleeding by Nuala Casey. This tagline says, "Four lives are about to come crashing together. A terrifying sequence of events unites the four characters and brings the last days of summer to a shocking end." So that's really exciting, and I absolutely adore the cover for this book. I think it's just so striking and stunning and makes me want to read it massively. So that's that one. The next book I got sent was from Sphere, and it is called Help for the Haunted by John Searles. Now this is said to be a psychological thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat, told in the captivating voice of a young heroine who is determined to discover the truth about what happened that winter night. Sorry about that. Really looking forward to reading this one. I have never read anything by John Searles before. I think he's written other things, he must have done. I don't think he's a debut author, but if he is, then I'm sure he can't be. Let's have a quick look. Does it say? John Searles, I'm reading his essays. Oh, it doesn't say. Maybe this is his first novel. Well, either way, I cannot wait to read that one. You might see a little bit of a trend here. I've got a lot of kind of primary thrillery fictiony books at the moment. I don't know if that's because they're kind of becoming more popular as we kind of head into winter and it's kind of autumny and, you know, things are getting a bit darker, a bit more mysterious, or whether it's just the fact that I haven't been really reading many recently, but I've kind of really got back into them again, and it seems a lot of publishers are sending them my way, so I'm really looking forward to reading those ones. The rest of the books that I've been sent are more kind of like chick-litty, fall under like the contemporary women's fiction, kind of general fiction, and they are The Marriage Mender by Linda Green. This is about a woman who is a marriage mender who helps couples who have reached the end of the line, but as the saying goes, whilst you are helping other people, you're not helping yourself, and I think it's about her trying to save her own marriage whilst trying to save other people's. I've never read anything by Linda Green before, I don't think. She's written The Mummy Festa, which I've heard about, which I never got the chance to read, so I'd be interested to see what this is like. So that is The Marriage Mender by Linda Green. The next one I got sent is also from Quercus, and this is The Honeymoon Hotel by Hester Brown. The book I read by Hester Brown before was called The Vintage Girl, and it was kind of a so-so book for me. I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. It was just quite average. Didn't massively fall in love with the characters, didn't massively fall in love with the writing, but it was enjoyable. It wasn't a book that I kind of thought, oh no, I have to finish it. I was kind of like, yeah, I'll finish it, you know, happily. So I'll be interested to see what this one's like. This, I think, is about an events planner at a like old hotel, and she's trying to reclaim it and make it, you know, the up and coming place for glitzy weddings. And I think she hires a like a boss, or she hires somebody else, and it's a man, and I think they might fall in love and things happen, which is kind of the formulaic way that a chick lit novel works, but we can see what happens. So I'm looking forward to reading that one, so thank you to Quercus for sending me that one. I'm sorry the lighting is so bad in this video. It's not the best time of day to be filming a video, really. The next book I got sent is from Simon & Schuster, and it's called All Fall Down by Jennifer Weiner. Now, I've never read any of her work before, I don't think. I've heard a lot about them and seen them around a lot, but I've never actually read any, I don't think. So this would be my first ever Jennifer Weiner novel. And the tagline for this one, the tagline is, "One seemingly perfect life, one devastating secret." And the blurb says, "All Fall Down is a story of a woman's slide into addiction and struggle to find her way back up again. With a sparkling comedic touch and tender characters, this tale of empowerment and redemption is Jennifer Weiner's most poignant, timely and triumphant story yet." So I cannot wait to read that one. So thank you to Simon & Schuster for that one, and I think the cover is really beautiful with kind of like the pill and the mug of tea. I think that's really clever. The next two that I've got are kind of more YA fiction, kind of teen fiction, young adult fiction, and the first one of those is called A Little in Love by Susan Fletcher. Now this really excited me, not only because it's got red pages and it's so pretty, but this is Eponine's story from Les Mis, which I love Les Mis so much. So when I was offered the chance to review this, I was like, of course I'm going to review this, of course I want to read it. I'm not actually sure whether this is like a retelling of Les Mis, or whether it's actually just kind of like a made-up version of what happened. I think it's going to end the way that it does in the film, or sorry, the musical. Obviously it was a musical, or it was a book, then it was a musical, then it was a film. But I've never actually read the original Les Mis, I've only seen the musical, so it'll be interesting to find out what happens in this. And I'm really excited. So that's A Little in Love by Susan Fletcher. I love that one, I cannot wait to read that one. And then the final book that I've got this week is from Walker Books, and it's called The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Now I have seen this book around before because I think it was in hardback earlier this year, or at the end of last year, I can't quite remember, but I've definitely seen it around. And this, I think, is a kind of fantasy book, maybe a bit of a... yeah, I think it's fantasy more than dystopian. This is about Ava, who tries to understand what she is, because I think she has wings, or she's an angel or something like that. So I'll be interested to see how that one turns out. So that is the Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. That's that one. Then earlier this month, not this month, probably in August, I was contacted by a company called Flubit Books, and they were running this thing where if you sent them a book review via email, they would send you a book of your choice plus donate some money on your behalf to the National Literacy Trust. So I sent them a review, and they asked me which book I'd like, and I chose a book, and they sent it to me pretty quickly. It only arrived like the beginning of this week, so like it was really quick. And I was so thankful, and obviously they were thankful, and it's all just fantastic. So I'm going to leave them below. I think that kind of offer has expired now, but you can go and check them out because they're fantastic. They're doing fantastic things for books and for reading, so go and check them out. But the book that I asked for is Every Day by David Levithan. Now, I am massively getting into David Levithan. I say that I haven't actually read any of his books yet, but I am loving these covers, and I really want to collect all these beautiful covers. I work in Waterstones, I don't know if I said that before, I probably have said that before, and I see this book every single day. The irony of the book being called Every Day, but I do see it every day, and I'm like, I really want this book, I really want this book. So now it is on my shelf on its own, looking pretty, so I cannot wait to read this one. This is about a boy who wakes up in a different body every day, and there's never any warning about who it will be. so I cannot wait to get into that one. I think, well, this is definitely young adult fiction, teen fiction, so thank you so much to Fleabit Books for this one. I cannot wait to read it. So that is that one. Now I'm going to show you what I did today. I was a little bit naughty and I popped into the works on my way home from work, mainly because I've been scouring their website for quite a while now, because they do have some amazing offers on books, and I saw quite a few books that I really wanted and I was like, should I order them, should I not order them? And I was like, no, I'm going to be good, I'm not going to order them. But then I was like, oh, I wonder if they've got them in the store. So I went in and luckily, not for my bank balance, but for me, they had some of the books that I wanted. So I'm going to show you what I bought. Now, when I was growing up, I wasn't really aware of like young adult fiction, teen fiction. I was kind of I just read books that I found in the library, and I used to read a lot of Jacqueline Wilson and her kind of older adult novels, and I just kind of picked up books that were classed as teenage fiction. But when I was growing up, I don't think young adult fiction, teen fiction was such a massive thing as it is nowadays, because nowadays we've got things like, you know, Divergent and The Hunger Games and all of those kinds of fantastic trilogies and series of books which weren't around when I was growing up. When I was growing up, we just had kind of standalone books and it wasn't a massive kind of market for that kind of age group. But one author that I remember reading a lot of and I remember enjoying a lot of, and I constantly wanted to read his books, and I still read his books now because he still writes for young adults and he also writes for adults now as well. And he's called Kevin Brooks, and I think quite a lot of people have heard of him. But if you haven't, you have to check him out because he is just phenomenal. He was my kind of hero when I was growing up and reading books. I loved his books. They were so raw and real and just so different from anything else I was reading. They just kind of showed this other like side to human nature and life, and it was just so fantastic to read. So I definitely recommend you check them out. And the reason why I was talking about him is because I actually have not got any of his books. I've got a copy of a book called Lucas, but that was an ex-library copy, so it's a bit tatty and old. But what the publishers of his books have done, and the Chicken House are the publishers, they've re-released his books with new covers, and the covers are just like stunning. And I was like, I need to collect these covers, A, so I can look at them and be happy, but also so I can actually reread the books because I haven't read them since I was, what, 15, 16, so like 5-6 years ago now. So the first one that I picked up is called Martin Pig, and I just think these new covers are just absolutely stunning. So this one is about, or the tagline is, did I hate him? Of course I did, but I never meant to kill him. So that's that one. The second one I got was probably my favourite. Actually no, I tell a lie. My favourite one he ever wrote was called Black Rabbit Summer, but this is my second favourite and it's called Candy. And this, the tagline says, it's hard to imagine life before candy, and then there's this gorgeous spine and again a gorgeous back to it as well. And then the third one is actually the one I just talked about, which is Lucas, which I already have as a copy, but a really old, tattered, not a very nice cover copy. So I got the new one which looks like this, which again is just stunning, and again beautiful spine, and this tagline is a story of love and hate. So those I got, and all three of those together were £5, which I thought was just an absolute bargain. So they are going to look gorgeous on my shelf. So thank you, Works, for having such epic books. So I cannot wait to put those on my shelf, and I'm going to keep my eyes very peeled, widely peeled, wide open, to see whether they have any more of those, or whether the publishers are re-releasing more titles in those, because I really want to have a whole set because I just love Kevin Brooks that much. And then when I was also in the works, I picked up a few more books. I picked up 4 more books. One of the books I really wanted was a book called, I think it's called The Killing Woods by Lucy Christopher. I've seen that book in work a lot and I really wanted to read it. And I've seen on the Works, their website, they've got it on there, so I was really hoping they'd have it in store. But unfortunately they didn't, but it doesn't matter because I found one of her other ones and it's called Stolen. And I love the tagline. The tagline says, you took me to a prison of sand and stars, which sounds kind of romantic, but I don't think it is. The blurb says, it happened like this. I was stolen from an airport, kidnapped, taken from everything I knew, everything I was used to, imprisoned by sand and heat, dirt and danger, and he expected me to love him. This is my story, a letter to my captor. So that sounds pretty epic. So that's Stolen by Lucy Christopher. It's a bit shiny, sorry, it's not very easy to get a good look at that one, is it? So that's that one. And then I also bought another kind of, these are all like young adult fiction, teenage fiction. I also bought another one which is called Flashes by Tim O'Rourke, and this is about a girl called Charlie who has visions of things that she can't explain. She feels certain they're clues to a crime someone's committed against a girl, but no one will believe her. until she meets Tom, a young detective on his first case, a death on railway tracks not far from where Charlie lives. Was it an accident, a suicide, or murder? The attraction between Charlie and Tom is instant, but can they discover what's happened before it happens again? So that's that one, and I love the spine. It's kind of like shiny and red and all exciting. So that's Flashes by Tim O'Rourke. That's that one. And then the next one I picked up is also a like young adult, I think, teenage, maybe perhaps 9 to 12 fiction. Oh, is it? I don't know. See, now I work at a bookshop, I categorise things by the way it goes. So it's like 5 to 8 fiction, 9 to 12 fiction, teen fiction. I think this is probably teen fiction. If it's not, then it's like kind of like old child fiction. But it is The Zombie Chronicles by Darren Shan. This is the first 2 books in this. Yeah, I think this is definitely teen fiction. Yeah, this is the first 2 books, which includes Zombie and Zombie Underground. So I'm really looking forward to reading this, and it's like the blurb is like the undead have hit London and they're taking over brain by brain. So I'm really looking forward to that because I've seen a lot about it, and I do kind of like zombie books. I like that kind of dystopian, apocalyptic kind of idea. So looking forward to reading that one, and that was only like £1.99, which is ridiculously cheap. So well done, The Works, you are good at that. And then the final book I picked up because I needed to buy another one to make it up to the deal, which is like 3 for £5. This one I picked up mainly because it was a Richard and Judy book club pick from 2012, and I love Richard and Judy's book club. I mean, sometimes their titles are a bit interesting and I'm not too keen on them. Like their current titles are a little bit, I'm not entirely sure, but a lot of the time they do pick some really fantastic books. So I went for this one, which is called Path of Needles by Alison Littlewood. And this is about a body is found in the trees near Rye Hill. The victim is a young girl, and the gruesome way in which the body has been placed has the police at a loss. Until, on a hunch, Alice Hyland, an expert in fairy tales, is brought into the investigation. And it is Alice who finds the connection between the body of Chrissy Farrell and an obscure Italian version of Snow White. It seems a fairy tale has taken a twisted, nightmarish turn. Then another body is found in a similarly shocking state. Now Alice must fight, not just to prove her innocence, but to protect herself from what lies in wait in the woods. So that sounds epic. I love the idea of like, well, I know this is really like dark and strange to say it, but I kind of love the idea of a murderer like leaving clues and making it look like something from a fairy tale. I just think that's a really kind of unique idea. So that's Path of Needles, so I'm really looking forward to reading that one. So they are all the books that I have got recently. I also got a copy of The Rosie Effect by Graham Simpson from Penguin Books, which is the second novel by him, which follows on from his first novel called The Rosie Project, and as expected I read it and I finished it in like 24 hours. It was just phenomenal, absolutely epic, as good, if not better than the first book. I'm definitely going to be reviewing that one soon. What have I also read recently? At the moment I'm also reading Gone Girl, which I never actually got around to reading properly the first time when it came out. I remember reading like the first few chapters and I gave up, but because it's being turned into a film and there's kind of a lot of people buying it at work at the moment, and I'm kind of thinking, right, I need to give this book a go, I need to see what's so good about it. So I think I'm about 25% of the way through, and it's gripping me a little bit more than it did before, but it's kind of difficult because it kind of chops and changes between the past and the present, and normally I'm quite good at dealing with books like that, but this one is different voices as well. It's like the female and the male voice, and it's trying to kind of work out how it all kind of bonds together and how it's all going to work out. It's very confusing, but it's good. And I just got a text, so go away text, I need to see what I'm doing. And what else am I reading? Oh, I'm also reading Bad Bridesmaid by Portia McIntosh, which I started reading on the train yesterday. Really funny, really good. I'm about 20% of the way through that one. Definitely one to read. It's really fun, really happy, really kind of like chick lit and really kind of mood lifting, I guess that's the word for it. I also just recently finished reading a book called, what was the book called that I just finished reading? Oh no, this is going to really annoy me now. I finished reading a book and it was really good. It was like a crime book. Oh, the new Sophie Mackenzie called Trust in Me? Trust in Me or Trust in You? I think it's Trust in Me. Now that was interesting. She has written novels for teenagers. She's written a lot of YA novels, but she's also written 2 adult novels now. The first one was called Close My Eyes, which came out last year, and the second one is coming out this year and it's called Trust in Me. And that one was really interesting. It was so compelling and so addictive. I literally could not put it down. When I started reading it, I was walking to work reading it. Like, I could not stop. I could not put my Kindle down. And like in my breaks at work, I was reading it. And when I was on the train, I was reading it. When I was in the bath, I was reading it. I was reading it in bed. And it was so compelling. But like the ending just felt like a massive anticlimax. And I don't know why. Because it wasn't like... I kind of guess like what happened. Like there's a murderer. Like in all of these kind of like... I need to stop saying the word like. In all these crime fiction things, there's always clues and it's always trying to work out who the killer is and who's done it and what's happened. But in this book, it just didn't feel like that person had done it. It didn't feel like that character was enough of a character in the story to have been able to do these things. And that kind of threw me a little bit because I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I don't even remember knowing too much about this character, so it's a bit of a strange one. But I'm definitely going to be reviewing it, and I'll definitely put a review on the blog, so if you want to read it, then you should, well, you should definitely read it anyway. It's still a fantastic book, and I'd be really interested to see what you guys think of that one. And I think that's about it really. I'm not reading, well, I say that's about it, I've got about 15 books on the go at the moment, but it's just really frustrating because I start reading one book and I get kind of like halfway through, then I start reading another one, and there's another one I want to read, and I finish one and then I kind of start another, and there's just a never-ending list of books to be read. So I'm going to try and get some more read soon, and especially now I have days off at work, I'm going to just read solidly and do nothing but read because reading is awesome. So yeah, I think that is everything. Oh, and also I've got a giveaway running on the blog at the moment. It ends on the 7th of September. It's a giveaway to win a copy, win one of 3 books. I'm giving away, let me find them quickly because they're here. Can I find them? I don't know. Oh, here we go. I'm giving away 3 books. The first book I'm giving away is The Atlas of Us by Tracy Buchanan. The second book I'm giving away is The Telling Error by Sophie Hannah. And the third book I'm giving away is Remember Me This Way by Sabine Durrant. So if you want to win a copy of one of these, then go and check out my blog where there's a link below. All you have to do is comment on my blog telling me which one of these you'd like to win and recommending me a book, because I'm looking for more books to be reading. Even though I don't need to buy any more books, I always like recommendations and to know what you guys have been reading so that I can read some fantastic books, if any of that makes sense. It probably doesn't. I'm talking rubbish. I'm going to go now before this video turns into a lecture and we're all sitting here for half an hour watching it. So thank you for watching the video, guys. I hope you're all doing really well and I will catch up with you again very soon. Bye guys!